Hi, and welcome to the Skincarma Pod. I'm Carmine, the creator and voice of the Skincarma blog. With more than 25 years in beauty as a brand builder, copywriter, and skincare junkie, I'm putting my product wisdom and expertise to work demystifying skincare. Today on the Skincarma Pod, I'm excited to welcome Dr. Martin Smith, a double board certified allergist and immunologist, staff physician at the Cleveland Clinic in the Department of Allergy, and co founder of Untoxicated allergen free skincare. You may have caught last week's podcast. My guest was Dr. Smith's co founder at Untoxicated. Annie and I talked a lot about the marketplace for sensitive skin and how the Untoxicated brand is disrupting an entrenched business dominated by big beauty brands like CeraVe and Cetaphil. Ironically, none of the brands traditionally considered the go-tos for sensitive skin address allergens in skincare, often the very trigger for sensitivity. As an allergist, Dr. Martin Smith knows sensitive skin better than anyone. He designed Untoxicated to be free of the most common allergens known to trigger 99% of adverse skin reactions. In fact, Untoxicated's products are made without 128 of the most common allergens found in personal care products. Many of them are in the products of those sensitive skin brands that crowd the shelves of your local drugstore, and ironically, that are recommended by dermatologists to their patients. I really wanted to talk with Dr. Smith about his insights, the very insights that revealed white space in a crowded skincare market that literally no one else was seeing. It's a prime example of the importance of an outside, objective perspective. I'm super eager to chat with him, so let's do it. Let's talk to Dr. Smith. Dr. Smith, hi.
Good morning. How are you, Carmine?
I'm great, thank you. Is it okay if I call you Martin?
Of course, please do.
It's funny, when I was talking to Annie on the podcast, your co founder, we kept referring to you as Dr. Smith, and eventually I think she said, let's just call him Martin.
Yes, please do. I always tell all the agencies and everybody I work with, do not refer to me as Dr. Smith, even the
Right,
people in the hospital. Come on.
right. Seriously, it's so formal. So let's get into it. I mentioned that I had spoken to Annie, and hopefully our listeners have already listened to the first part of this podcast, where I delved into the Untoxicated brand and everything you guys are attempting and have already achieved with Untoxicated. So if our listeners haven't caught that podcast yet, it's the previous one. I believe it's episode 21, and this is episode 22. So I want to delve into your background. I want to hear who you are and where you've come from and how you got to today. So
Yes.
go for it.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you kind of the 30,000-foot view here, Carmine. So when I started as an internal medicine resident, you can choose many paths. You can go into cardiology, gastroenterology, allergy, and immunology. And it really gives you a breadth of experience to all the subspecialties, and then kind of you pick. I never thought that allergy and immunology would be where I land up, but I was so fascinated when I did my rotations at how poorly understood skin allergies and reactions to personal care products were, even by other doctors. I mean, it is just so poorly understood, and there was so much to it, and the patch testing that goes into it, and the kind of detective work that it takes to get to that one single allergen that is causing somebody to react. So I was really fascinated by that, Carmen. So then after my residency or during residency, you apply for fellowship, and I applied for my allergy and immunology fellowship. And the great thing I think about it was that you do a pediatric and an adult track. So usually once you do internal medicine, you kind of get forced to go into the adult medicine world. But we do both. You do half of your time in the pediatric clinic and half in adult. And it's really, I had this realization with kids with terrible eczema that what are we putting on their skin that's not only not helping it, but possibly making it worse. And a lot of my mentors, or my one mentor in particular, would tell me, look, these are the best products we have, the CeraVes, the Cetaphils of the world. I wish it didn't have tocopherol in it, which is vitamin E, which sounds like it's great, but for someone with eczema, it can be a potent allergen.
Mm.
So this was kind of the aha moment for me, and really led me to focus my research on contact dermatitis, which is kind of skin reactions to product to ingredients in your personal care.
Wow. I didn't know that about tocopherol at all. That's
Yeah.
incredible, and it's in everything.
It is in everything, and a lot of brands tout it as being one of the hero ingredients,
Yeah.
and I think it's like niacinamide. I think is a great ingredient if you do not have sensitive skin, but paradoxically, niacinamide can also, with severely sensitive skin, it can do the opposite. It can do the opposite of calming your skin, calming your redness. So these are things that I feel like even my colleagues as primary care doctors did not know, and they're not aware of. So I want to democratize the access to that type of information. We publish all the allergens we eliminate on our website. There's 128 and more of them. But yeah, the things like tocopherol surprises people when I tell them that.
And niacinamide, I'm shocked by that because I tout niacinamide to everyone. So if you have super sensitive skin, it's a good idea to stay away from niacinamide as well.
Yes, if you're using the sensitive skincare products and you turn it over and there's niacinamide in and you're still experiencing redness and stinging,
Mm.
consider that that might be one of the ingredients. And the problem with niacinamide is not, say now you use it in one cream and it's formulated with 1% niacinamide or even 0.5%. That's great, but the problem is a lot of skincare has niacinamide in it, so it kind of stacks on each other and you can
Yeah.
add up to 4 or 5% where it can become problematic.
Yeah. So talk to me about what an allergist does. Like
Yeah.
what's your day look like? What do you see in your patients? But what do you do specifically? I've never been to an allergist and I probably
Yes.
should because I
Yes.
have severe allergies to several foods that trigger migraines.
Yeah.
And it's taken me on my own to figure that out and to cut those kind of foods out. So it's not just about skincare or applying ingredients, although I'm assuming that goes beyond skincare. So talk to me about you as an allergist.
As an allergist, yes, we see people like yourself all the time. Food reactions, be it an intolerance or an allergy, is, I'd say, even if you're just seeing kids, it's about a third of your practice. I would say the other third would be environmental allergens, pollen, cat
Hmm.
dander, dust mites, including asthma, because those are closely related. So we also deal with asthma. But a good third, and my practice specifically, more than 60 to 70% of my practice is actually eczema. So that is something that's usually starts in a childhood,
Hmm.
and it's usually accompanied by allergies and asthma. We call it the allergic triad. So if you have allergies and you have asthma, your risk of getting eczema is a lot higher than someone that doesn't have those two conditions. So usually the people I see have have all three of them. So I have to manage
Wow.
those. And the allergens that you inhale and cause sinus symptoms with it, if they land on your skin and you have eczema, they can also make your eczema worse. So there's that, and then there's what makes eczema worse is also the products you put on your skin. So another thing that we do is figure that out through something called patch testing. So if your eczema is not getting better, or you're having a rash specifically where you're applying body products on your face or your arms, or a common contact allergen for everybody that everybody might have heard of is a nickel allergy. If you wear an eye watch or something and it's got that little metal clasp there, it can cause a nickel allergy reaction. So that is the most common contact allergy. The second most common in personal care is being fragrance. So, and then we figure out
Oh,
which
wow.
fragrance it is. Yes. So patch testing is a involved test. It is something that takes 3 days. You come in on a Monday, we put all these allergens on your back, a panel of 80, and we also put all your personal care products that you use next to those allergens. You come back on a Wednesday, we peel off this kind of adhesive tape and we look where there are red reactions and we grade the reaction. And then you
Hmm.
actually come back on the Friday and then we see if the reaction's gotten worse or better, and then we grade it on a severity. So in a nutshell, that's what we do, and I do the latter half of that even more, just the eczema and the contact dermatitis.
And so there's types of allergens, like how are they classified outside of that? Like you're identifying, this moisturizer is causing Carmine an allergy. He's
Yes.
reacting. That this particular food that he's eating is causing an allergy. Like, but broadly speaking, how are allergens grouped, or are
So
they?
skin allergens and food allergens are graded differently.
Okay.
So food allergens are or food reactions we usually grade into an intolerance versus an anaphylactic type of reaction. And then skin allergens are either allergic contact dermatitis, which is a very interesting topic because it is a delayed type of allergy. So you can
Mm,
apply a product and you can use a product for 10 years, have no issue with that product, and then out of the blue you develop a rash to it because your body takes years or months, or sometimes in some people a little quicker, to get sensitized to that allergen. And then the other type of skin allergy is a irritant contact dermatitis, which is some like that's usually sensitive skin. Something, a preservative, benzyl alcohol, which is a preservative, just irritates your skin. So it doesn't mean that you took a while to become allergic to it. You just always are irritated by it.
okay. And so
If that makes sense.
yeah, completely. So you're seeing a patient, say, and they come in and they've had some sort of allergic reaction. I'm assuming that looks a lot like a rash in most cases, or redness. Obviously, if it's more something more severe like eczema, there's signs, and I'm sure you see eczema and it's eczema, or
Yes.
psoriasis, and maybe that's even more broad. But patients are clueless, right? They come in and they're like, I'm like, whole body is covered, or I have my face. Like, they probably really freak out if their face has a rash.
Yes.
I remember with monkeypox, like
Oh
when
my
that
God.
hit New York, it was what, 2 or 3 years ago.
I remember.
That I was following, like the second they announced they were doing that, that the shots where they were giving the shots, the
Yeah, the
vaccine.
vaccines. Yeah.
I was like the first in line. There's no
Yeah.
way in hell I'm having stuff like that on my face. Absolutely
Th-
not. So
it,
they go ahead.
yeah, it is the most distressing thing, and if you've had a reaction, or even as simple as having a bunch of pimples on your face, yeah, it's
Mm,
it's really embarrassing. And if you have eczema on your face, people often, the comment I get from patients is, all my family members ask me if this is contagious. Am I going to give this to them? So there's a stigma connected to it, and yeah, facial eczema and facial rashes are in my opinion just worse for your mental health because they are right there for everybody to
yeah,
see.
you can't hide it.
You can hide it, and they are of the most confusing or hard to delineate conditions for regular doctors because there are so many things that can cause a rash,
Hmm.
and that's where I really like to play the detective role to figure out what is
Right.
causing it. Is it eczema? Is it one of your products? And I can't tell you, young females in their late 20s to early 30s, they just develop these skin allergies, these contact dermatitis reactions so commonly, and a lot of things come into play. Hormones change a lot in how your body tolerates a compound, and they just can't believe it when I'm saying, look, this body wash from XYZ brand that you've been using for 5 years is causing you a rash. They can't believe it. It's really hard, a hard pill for someone to swallow because they don't believe you at first until you do the patch test and you prove it to them.
Right. And so, what's the first step? You tell them stop doing everything to your face. Don't put anything on
Ex-
your face for the
e-
next week.
Exactly. So we tell him don't do anything, don't add any new products, use, only these recommended products we give them. And then we usually do a test on your back. Your back is a great area to do it because you got a lot of skin real estate
Mm.
and there's a lot of mast cells in there, which are your allergy cells, so you get a good reaction on your back. And luckily, you don't have to walk around with all these patches on your arm or your face or something.
Right.
So yeah, Carmine, what we do is we take a standard panel, and these are 80 allergens that have been shown to be common by the American Contact Dermatitis Society, which is a dermatological society that says, look, you got to test for fragrance mix 1, fragrance mix 2, tocopherol we spoke of, phenoxyethanol,
Oh,
even propylene
wow.
glycol. Test to all of these,
Yeah.
and then see what reacts. But at the same time, we kind of cross-reference it by testing your product. So we test to propylene glycol, and then we test to your face wash, which may have propylene glycol in. So if your face wash reacts and propylene glycol reacts and nothing else reacts, we pretty much know that it's propylene glycol because all the other ingredients in the face wash have been included in the panel. So
Right.
it's kind of like a cross-referencing
And
step.
propylene glycol's in what, like 50% of skincare products?
I would yeah, I would even say more, and
Phenoxyethanol's in everything.
it is, but luckily phenoxyethanol has been vilified in the past, but it is a extremely rare allergen, and it is one of
Ah.
the most effective broad spectrum preservatives, and we use it. But I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen phenoxyethanol being a true allergen. I think maybe it has been one time.
Oh,
So
that's good to know.
yes, phenoxyethanol is kind of like parabens were vilified for a long time,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we can go into a big debate about parabens, but they are, even though they're not as common as we thought, they are still a contact allergen. So if you do have eczema and things, it may be better for you to stay clear of them. But yeah, propylene glycol, Carmine, it's in everything. And the other name that it's called is propanediol. So a
Mm.
lot of people are frustrated that one inky or international nomenclature of an ingredient is sometimes as five different
Yeah.
names. So
I
yeah,
didn't know propylene glycol and propanediol were the same
are the
thing.
same thing. So
Wow.
people, we tell them look out for propylene glycol, and then they come and they say, I found this product, it doesn't have it in, but it's causing me a reaction. And then that's why we give a very detailed list of the all the names that it may be called by.
Yeah. Okay, so I understand fully the insights that you had into the beauty world and skincare specifically. And so as an outsider to that, like what was your what like when was the moment where you were like there's nothing addressing all of this. I'm going to have to
Yes.
make it. Like
It
when was that aha moment?
I mean, it was a patient actually, and this was one of the first patients of many that said not the exact same sentence, but I forget what the exact phrase was, but it was something like, "Okay, you patch tested me. I'm allergic to these 7 chemicals. You're telling me I have to use this face wash, this shampoo, this deodorant. They're all from different brands. Why, if this is such a problem, why isn't there a single brand that is allergen free that someone with eczema or sensitive skin or skin allergies can go out and buy and just have it all from the same brand?" And that was kind of like the light bulb moment to me, and I didn't know why, and it is so frustrating for me to tell them these are the products you have to buy, and I'm sorry that one's discontinued, now you got to use this product. So I just had the realization I don't want people to have to come to me. Through your insurance, you may even have to pay $4 or $5,000 for this patch test,
Mhm.
where you could rather just go to a drugstore or Walmart or hopefully Target one day and just pick up our brand and know that it won't harm your skin.
So you're an outsider with this amazing perspective. And that fascinates me because there's a very embedded marketplace for sensitive skin. And we know
Yes.
what those brands are: the CeraVes, the Cetaphils, the Vanacreams.
Yep.
There's several of them. And
Yes.
if you have sensitive skin and you go to the dermatologist and they tell you, look, just use CeraVe,
Hmm.
and they think that's it, we're good, we're all good. So you have this outsider perspective and you realize that you need to create your own brand, and that's not easy. I talk to a lot of brand founders. I've been in this business a long time. I know how product development works,
Yes.
and I'm sure you were like, what have I gotten myself into?
I almost did regret it, Carmine, after a couple of months. I Because I was like, "Look, why does this formula contain propylene glycol and why does it contain sodium benzoate?" And then you go into, all right, because this emulsifies the oil phase into
Mm,
the water phase and it makes it an elegant formulation that doesn't separate when it gets hot. So then if I want to cut these out and finding a co-manufacturer that could manufacture these bespoke formulas was a arduous task. I
that's
went
what that
to
was going to be my next question.
almost 10 contract manufacturers and
Yeah,
ludicrous amounts they would want to charge, $300,000 to develop a formula from the ground up, until I found a contract manufacturer that was willing to take a deposit and I would pay them for the development later, and we're willing to say, look, you come into the lab with our cosmetic chemist, you tell them exactly what you want and what you don't want, and we will make it work. So we tried, a dozen emulsifiers to try and do what propylene glycol does that is non-allergenic. Our surfactants or soaps, we didn't, all of these cocamidopropyl betaine being the most common, they're excellent at cleansing, but all that, it is an allergen of the year back in 2018. It's
mm,
just, so what alternative can we take to cocamidopropyl betaine, and what do else do we need in the formula to support it so that it's still an elegant formulation? So it was trial and error, and I'm glad, we finally landed on a contract manufacturer that was willing to take the risk, because we could have spent years and not come up with a formula that works. So
yeah. Well, you broke through, and it's possible that there were other people who tried the same thing and were
I'm
like,
sure
I
there have
can't
been.
get this made. I give
Yes.
up. I give up. Let them just buy
the
Cetaphil.
This guy,
This
our
guy,
one of our, you love this one, right? And
I love this product.
yes,
Yeah.
and thank you for all your love for this guy. And this was probably the hardest one to get right, because
Whoa.
this was the most important one for me, because if you have eczema or sensitive skin, I had to nail this. Oh, thank
Hmm.
you for, doesn't it feel good?
It's amazing.
And that one, Carmine, took, I think, 18 formulations and then another rework to get there. It was almost there at number 12, but we went back and back and back. Yeah, there it is. It is a very, it's almost like a whip texture. It
Yeah.
is rich and it is extremely nourishing for the skin. And we did in-home user testing, even though we had, we did patch testing, we had no reactions. Then we did in-home user testing. We listened to the comments, and even after that, we reformulated again because some users felt that it was a little too greasy and things. And then, finally we stuck the landing on that one.
And it's made with 12 ingredients, right? Something like
Yes,
that.
yes, this one is made with 14.
It,
Yeah,
it honestly, you really nailed it. And I try everything. Look, I mean, I
I'm
have
sure you
tried
do.
everything. I love this product, especially in the winter. And then, of course, I don't know, are we going to have a spring here in New York? Because it's freezing
Um,
cold.
in Cleveland, we're not.
It's insane. We're going to go straight into summer. And then, so
Yes,
last summer, I was using the lighter version.
yes,
And I mean, I like it. There's something about this one. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the velvety texture. Like, the sensorial feel of it, I'm just obsessed with. But the
yes.
lighter version, the moisturizing lotion, is also free of anything that could possibly cause an allergen.
Yeah,
Incredible
no,
stuff.
thank you for your kind words. This one, yeah, this one has even less ingredients. It is
Yeah.
not as moisturizing, so it's not your go-to for winter.
Right.
but we're a unisex brand. Look, we know that that men like to use moisturizers, but they do not like to use something heavy, and they like a pump. So this is a lot of things that I credit my co-founder to Annie with
Yeah.
her insights. She's like, Martin, we need, if we want to be a mass brand that can help a lot of people, we need big sizes and we need to be affordable. So even though our ingredients are more expensive than the CeraVes and the Cetaphils of the world, we really try to bring down the price as much as we could to about $2.50 an ounce, which is above your CeraVe and Cetaphil. But honestly, our ingredients are not cheap for a reason, because
Yeah.
they're not used often.
Well, I mean, the products aren't expensive. This is $25, right?
Yes, $25.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge.
that'll last you. Yeah,
It's a big tub. It lasts me. It certainly lasts me. And I
yeah.
put it all over my neck. I put it on my arms, all of it. Like it's heaven. An incredible product. And
Thank you.
for everybody out there, the Untoxicated Moisture Boost Hydrating Cream, the product reviews are on my blog at skinkarma.com. But also, this was one of the products that I included in my AM routine. I constructed what I considered a perfect, not the perfect, but a perfect
Yes.
AM skincare routine and a perfect PM skincare routine. And that was the moisturizer I featured.
Yeah,
You really
and
nailed it. It's incredible to me that somebody from, outside beauty pulled that off.
thank you, Carmine. It was, and the validation we got from consumers and influencers and beauty people like yourself were so flattering, and not just flattering. They really, I was proud. And when Women's Health awarded us Moisturizer of the Year last year, I couldn't believe it, because
Yeah.
we got a request to send them samples, and my co-founder said, "Yeah, we got to send them 6 samples." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what are the chances?" So we sent them 6 samples, and I was on spring break with my family on the beach, and I got a call that we won Moisturizer of the Year. And at that time, we hadn't spent a dollar on marketing with any media outlet, let alone Women's Health. So we were really honored to receive that, and that was really the great form of validation for us.
That's super cool. A lot of that stuff isn't necessarily objective, right? But to
Exactly.
your point, you hadn't spent a dime with them. So,
We hadn't, and I didn't know. A lot of brands, when you get featured, you're talking to the editors and things like.
yeah.
Yeah, we just send in the product.
Yeah. Well, terrific and congratulations. I love the brand. It's incredible to me that you filled a white space that, hundreds of years of beauty hadn't filled. And it's really a testament to your genius, like your brilliance to see that. And I know it wasn't easy to pull off. I know how hard it
Thank you.
was.
Thank you. I think it is, our superpower is exactly that, Carmine. I'm an outsider and Annie's an insider, right?
Yeah.
Annie, my co-founder, worked in big beauty. She had similar questions that I had, like, why am I reacting to these products? Because she tested, hundreds of products just like you. Everything landed on her desk to test, and she would have reactions. And she kind of questioned why brands like Neutrogena who was one of the pioneers of the sensitive skin movement, would have these ingredients in them. And I'd ask the same question, and and I just felt that it must be possible. Whereas I feel like a lot of people in beauty feel like, no, this is how we've done it for decades.
Yeah.
This is how you start off with a base formula, and you can add in ceramides, hyaluronic acid, all your peptides, but you need that base formula. The problem is that base formula is where all the allergens lay.
That's insane. But
Yeah,
it's the reality, right?
it is.
But now
Yeah.
you've created a base formula. And, I'm not going to ask you to reveal what you're working on next. I have an
Yeah.
idea after speaking with Annie, and I'm super excited to see, where Untoxicated goes from here. I really am. And
Well,
I
thank
want to
you.
thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I will let you get back to your your patients. I know they probably need you more than I. So
You're more than welcome. I really enjoyed being on here, and it's great to see you again. And happy spring over there.
thank you. I'll take it. All right. Thank you, Martin.
Come on, have a great day.
All
Bye.
right. Ciao. Wow, I hope you enjoyed that conversation. I really wanted to have him on. I mean, an allergist, and how fascinating that he was able to pull this off. It is no small feat to create a brand, and it's certainly no small feat to create a brand that nobody wants to make for you. And he did it. He really did it. Again, check out my reviews of Untoxicated skincare on my website at skincarma.com. There are, I'll also put links to the products and the reviews in the show notes. I find that that's helpful. All right. Well, thank you again for listening to the Skincarma Pod. Find more insights, real talk, and reviews of my favorite skincare products on the Skincarma blog at skincarma.com. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review this episode. It helps me to reach more listeners. Ciao.